What's going on? What's going on, guys? This is your man, Real Deal, Steele, coming to you live Wednesday, Hump Day, November 9th, 2022. What's good? What's good, people? Great to see each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Got a great show lined up for you tonight, so just get cozy, folks. Get cozy, whether it's with some chamomile tea, a stiff cocktail, or something in between. But we definitely got some interesting things, plenty going on. We're going to crack into all of it. Before we get started, if I could just ask you to smash that like button. It takes a split second of your time. Doesn't cost you a dime. Number one thing you can do to help this channel work through those tricky YouTube algorithms. Also, if you're new here, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. We've got an awesome little community here, and I would love to have you be a part of it. And yeah, if you feel compelled to super chat, that's obviously hugely appreciated for all the time and efforts put in. Feel free to comment or ask me whatever, and I will respond to them to the best of my ability. Also, if you used to be a member or have yet to become a member, there's no better time like the present. It only costs $4 a month, $1 a week. Yes, that's it. Nowhere will you find a more affordable YouTube membership than right here, and that unlocks some cool features. Another just cool way to support the show. The link to join is pinned at the top of the chat. Without any further ado, let's see who is active in it. We got the 7-1. We got Crypto Tank Girl. We got 7-1. We got Alan Schneider, Keith Havens. Who else is up in here? Xavier Arrow, good to see you. Zombie Doge Army. And Stormer, good to see you, Stormer. Luminal Mike Tracy. The Beef Supreme. Welcome, Beef Supreme, and the list goes on, the list goes on. Well, let's just get down to it, boppers. As you can see, the crypto market absolutely tanking, crashing epically to proportions we haven't seen in quite some time. In fact, I would dare say to proportions not many of us have ever seen since our involvement in crypto. I do faintly remember the epic crashes of 2017, and I do remember that fairly well. But other than that, this is the most epic one I have yet to see. As we can see, Bitcoin trading going down to 16,000. Wow, I tell you, folks. Should we be surprised? Yes and no. Yes and no. Dreams 420, welcome aboard. Should we be surprised? Yes and no. Yes and no. To what do we attribute this latest crash to? We'll look no further than your friendly crypto exchanges, people. We have been sounding the bells, sounding the alarms here ever since, well, Voyager and Celsius ran into their epic hiccups, to put it nicely. What have I told you guys since then? That wasn't the those weren't the last exchanges to go under. Those weren't the last exchanges to run into some serious trouble. And I would dare say that this is going to extend beyond FTX. We're going to see, I believe, them tumble before the rebuilding begins. Is there any safe exchange to be holding your crypto now? No, there's not. I just finished completing, moving all of the rest of my portfolio onto decentralized wallets, a combination of MetaMask and a Ledger. And yeah, but if you're asking me what the lower probability, there are no safe exchanges right now, I'll say that. But I will say this, the safest ones out of the non-safe environment would be Robinhood and perhaps Coinbase and Kraken. That's it. I wouldn't recommend anything else in this environment. Russell, thank you for starting things off with a $2 make you holler. I head and Sol unlock coming up a few hours. Bitcoin dip. So it sounds like Russell's making strong moves with Solana. So Solana is about to dip even bigger and harder, if you haven't heard, due to their unlock. Let's talk about that for a little moment. And thank you for your support and kicking things off here, Russell. Appreciate it. I was going to touch on Solana. And CoinDesk reported this today. Solana blockchain hit by FTX tremors is nearly 800 million Solana tokens set to be unstaked. The scheduled to be unlocked SOL tokens represent 15% of its circulating supply. The epic come down of Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX crypto exchange Elmata Research trading firm are making waves in the market for the Solana blockchain SOL token, to the point where some investors have apparently become so nervous they're demanding back tokens they had staked and deposit in the blockchain's underlying security protocol. Now, apparently, the dynamic has risen to another level. Solana validators who provide security to the blockchain are set to unlock nearly 800 million worth of their Solana holdings as the end of the token lock-in period known as Epoch 370 approaches in fewer than 13 hours. At the time of this article is about 8 hours ago, so let's do the math. About little less than 5 hours to go before this happens. And what do you think, guys? Well, it's going to be a very high risk, high reward play. But just as people took the big risk, took the big chance at the high school dance with the fall of Luna, and then investing in Luna Classic, definitely some millionaires got made in that, and some thousandaires. Now, could we have the same potential with Solana? Well, absolutely. I will preface this with, this is a high risk, high reward move. And just as I stated on Twitter, yesterday, or was it earlier today? You know how the days just blend together sometimes, guys? That's where I'm at. This was yesterday. I said, hear me out. Country classic Western song called I Bought the Dip, but the Dip Kept Dipping. I bought the dip, but the dip kept dipping. She stole my heart and my Bitcoin with it. I DCA'd, but to my dismay, I'm 10,000 down than I was yesterday. Yeah, I made that up yesterday. It's not easy being cheesy, folks, but I think it'd make a good classic country western song, and that's how many of us feel when we come to these times of market chaos, right? But that is also wherein you can potentially find the biggest opportunities. Now tomorrow, as Solana begins to take a big dive in the wee twilight hours of this evening / early morning, be sure it's done dipping. Be sure that it's done dipping, folks. Because if it ain't done dipping, and we've all made this mistake, right? We've all made this mistake. You want to seize the opportunity, but you got a little too anxious with that trigger finger. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. As another classic country voice once said. But folks, here we are with Bitcoin at 16K. A friend of mine said he was going to take a really big, bold move to buy a bunch of Bitcoin if it dipped below 20. I said, not so fast. Not so fast. It ain't done dropping. And I was right. It wasn't done dropping. Now, how much further down will we go? I don't think we're done. I think we're close to the bottom, but I don't think we're quite at the bottom yet. I don't think we're quite at the bottom yet. In fact, folks, I think we are going to see a few days of $800 Ethereum. I think we're going to see a few days of $15,000, $14,000, $13,000, maybe even $12,000 Bitcoin, maybe. All as I know is that we're not done dipping. That much I feel sure of. Sleepy Random says, Fetterman was the better man. What else is going on, chat? Up, down, that is the Doge way. Yeah. What else we got? Xavier says, in my opinion, I'm not recommending any exchanges unless doing active trading. Not bad advice. Crypto Tank Girl baked herself a piece of pie. Pie sounds good right now. If I had my choice to have any kind of fresh pie right now, I would pick blueberry. I love fresh blueberry pie with all real blueberries. Or give me some of that rhubarb pie. And we're going to be talking about Fetterman in the midterm elections in a little bit. But I do think this is potentially extraordinary opportunity for the bold or the recklessly stupid. Sometimes it's a fine line in crypto between brilliance, bold and brilliant, and recklessly stupid, isn't it? It can be a real fine line, especially if you buy the dip before it's done dipping. Folks, if you're on Twitter, please give me a follow at Mr. Steele. Also, if you could please retweet this stream so our fellow community members know that we are doing the damn thing. Pin posted in chat. So we have huge systemic corruption coming in waves, massive waves, wrecking the market between the shenanigans of CZ and Binance and Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX. Blockhead, some would refer to them as blockchain billionaires. I refer to them as blockhead billionaires. We went over this whole mess with Three Arrows Capital, Celsius, Voyager. The short-sighted arrogance of the people in power in this space never ceases to amaze me. It never ceases to amaze me. Most of these moguls hadn't even had a backup plan in the event of market conditions such as these. And who pays the price for all of this? The most? The retail investors. The retail investors. Now, through the latest court hearings, through Sam Bankman-Fried, we understand just how deep the corruption went. So much so that CZ made an announcement today that Binance is no longer in the process of acquiring FTX due to new information that had been unearthed or clarified in court today, as Sam Bankman-Fried testified. Audio Freak says, I retweeted, are you promising a bag of Doge if I retweet CEO Steele? No promises, my friend. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Nothing surprises me in this space anymore, folks. Nothing at all. Most of the people running this space are reckless, dishonest, arrogant, and short-sighted. Or a combination of all the aforementioned. And you need to treat your investments as such. You really do. You really do. Live Mint now reporting. Bitcoin falls to 2-year low. Ether, other cryptocurrencies today continue to free fall. Cryptocurrency prices today continue to remain under pressure after crypto exchange Binance said it was pulling out a deal to purchase the failing rival FTX trading. Binance confirmed earlier rumors and news reports that it was ready to back out of the FTX deal struck between the CEOs of the two exchanges on Tuesday. The deal was pending Bitcoin's due diligence on FTX's balance sheet. The world's largest and most popular digital token, Bitcoin's price today was trading more than 10% lower at 16,287 at time of the article. And it plunged all the way to 15,800, its lowest level since November 2020. On the other hand, Ethereum, the coin linked, or Ether, the coin linked to Ethereum blockchain, and the second largest cryptocurrency, also tumbled by more than 10% to 1166. Folks, I don't think we are done tumbling. It reminds me of an old 80s new wave song by the Culture Club. I tumble for ya, I tumble for ya. And it's not done tumbling, folks. It's not done tumbling, and we are not done rumbling. The global crypto market crumbled for another consecutive day after Binance decided to pull out of the FTX deal, sending Bitcoin to its new yearly low of 15,698 Bitcoin. Currently at a trading level not seen since November of 2020. The liquidations in Solana's decentralized finance markets also added to the selling pressure. Other major cryptocurrencies continued to dip as the events negatively impact investor sentiment. Saw Edu Patel, CEO and co-founder of Mudrix. Meanwhile, Dogecoin price today trading nearly 5% lower, around 7 cents, whereas Shiba Inu was also down about 4%. Other cryptocurrencies today's performance also declined sharply, from Avalanche to Solana, Tether, XRP, Terra, Tron, Litecoin, Uniswap, ApeCoin, Cardano, Stellar Lumens, Chainlink, the list goes on. You name them, that's what's going on. Space Frog says SBF deserves the worst. Well, I can't blame you for holding those sentiments. I really can't blame you. The level of, like I said, the level of arrogance and short-sightedness of the overwhelming majority of people in charge of these crypto exchanges is just extraordinary, but hardly it's surprising at this phase. And I got to hand it to BritBoy Crypto, who did play a key role in essentially popularizing the expose of SBF. He and I certainly haven't always been in agreement in the past, but I got to give credit where credit's due, and he is a hardworking man. FTX's latest cryptocurrency company this year to come under financial pressure as crypto assets have collapsed in value. Other failures include Celsius, a bank-like company that took in crypto deposits in exchange for yield as well as an Asian-based hedge fund known as Three Arrows Capital. What they didn't go through there is essentially the biggest problem and the catalyst to the demise of Voyager and Celsius was Three Arrows Capital. A notable clarification, in my opinion. We have so many massive loans being made to the biggest dumbasses in the space, and many times without collateral. It's just unbelievable, folks. It's unbelievable. There is an assumed sense of authority, an assumed sense of security where us average retail investors assume that the very basics are being adequately taken care of on these crypto exchanges. And folks, they are not. They are absolutely not. And you need to treat your money and your investments accordingly. I do not recommend any crypto exchange at this point. Not one. Your money's not safe on any exchange right now. But if I had to pick a couple, it'd probably be Robinhood and Kraken, maybe Coinbase. Sleepy Random says FBF was quoted saying, deploying capital, study lads. Yes, yes, yes. He's got many quotables, many damning quotables at this stage in the game. Crypto Tank Girl Steven met someone as a musician that knew you from back in the day. He said he knew about me somehow. Curious why. He was at the American Legion in my neighborhood. Very curious situation. Well, I don't know what part of the country you're from, but I suppose it's possible. Sometimes it's a small world. I did spend a fair amount of years playing gigs and touring around and causing a ruckus. So it's possible. WEBULL. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about WEBULL. I hold stocks on WEBULL, and I'm still holding stocks on WEBULL. Here's my take on that, Alex. If the exchange is first and foremost a stock trading exchange, I think it gives that exchange a lot more security because they're not solely reliant on crypto to prop up their business model. And that's why I also categorize Robinhood in a safer category. So given that being the case, I would default WEBULL and Robinhood to a safer category. Hector, I suppose customers are screwed now. We don't know. We just don't know. But I do have some breaking news. Well, sort of breaking as of about a half hour ago. And I'm not sure what to make of this in terms of seriosity. But CoinDesk is now reporting, without details, Tron's Justin Sun. For those of you who don't know, Justin Sun is the founder of Tron and one other coin that's eluding me right now. I'm sure somebody in chat knows it. Starts with a B. Says he's putting together a solution for FTX. Justin Sun, the founder of Tron Cryptocurrency Network and Grenada's ambassador to the World Trade Organization, tweeted late Wednesday that he and a team were putting together a solution with a beleaguered cryptocurrency exchange FTX hours after Binance announced it would not move forward in a deal to acquire the company. Sun provided no details, only saying that his team had been, quote, working around the clock to avoid further deterioration. Sam Bankman-Fried, CEO of FTX, retweeted Sun's tweet. Sun's tweet did not make clear whether the solution would rescue FTX as an entity or only a backstop to the Tron-related tokens he held on the exchange. FTX stunned the cryptocurrency industry on Tuesday when founder Sam Bankman-Fried announced that he was facing liquidity issues only days after tweeting that the exchange was quote-unquote fine. Binance backed away from the deal earlier Wednesday, saying that after looking at FTX's books, the issues are beyond our control or ability to help. What do you say, folks? What do you think? I know Justin Sun has talked a big game that he hasn't necessarily followed through on everything in the past. He seems like a nice enough guy, but his business practices in the past have kept me from investing too much in his coins. But everyone grows, right? And Justin Sun's no exception. He's an ambitious, smart guy. So we'll see what he says. I would say that the most bullish aspect about this story is that Sam Bankman-Fried himself retweeted that. So that kind of validates and confirms the validity of that claim. If Sam Bankman-Fried had firsthand retweeted that, okay? So for those of you still holding money on FTX, there is a glimmer of hope there. Audio Freak, XRP making moves. Well, I'll check that chart in a moment. I'm a big fan of XRP. I think it's an excellent long-term hold, personally. Sleepy Random says Sam Bankman-Fried has $990 million left. Should use that to pay back users. Wasn't he supposedly the most generous billionaire? Well, when you go from being worth $16 billion to less than $1 billion in 48 hours, your perception and definition of generosity is going to change pretty starkly. The probability that he's going to pass any of his remaining fortune onto users, FTX users, is extremely improbable and extremely unlikely, in my opinion. Extremely unlikely. Folks, you're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm your man, Real Deal, Steven Steele, coming to you live a little late on the PM of Wednesday, November 9th. We're covering the massive crypto crash that has bestowed upon us. We're going to get to those 2022 midterms momentarily. But before I do, if you haven't smashed that like button, if you could take a moment to do that, take a split second of your time, doesn't cost you a dime. Also, if you're brand new here, I'd like to personally welcome you. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got an awesome little community here. I would love to have you be a part of it. Obviously, super chats is, wow, good one. Super chats are hugely appreciated for the time and effort put in. And feel free to become a member. Love to have you on board. Let's pivot to these midterms, and I'm not done talking about crypto tonight yet, so we'll kind of toggle back and forth. How many of you watched the midterms last night or closely watched any sort of coverage? If so, who did you watch? Let's pull up a general article by assessment by CBS. Democrats stave off red wave as midterm election results filtered in. Now the dust has settled from midterm elections, but overall Congress remains unresolved, with the GOP still within striking distance of taking the House and the battle for the Senate coming down to a handful of races. Democrats picked up a Senate seat in the key state of Pennsylvania, where CBS showed Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman defeated Republican Mehmet Oz in the most expensive and closely watched Senate contest in the country. Fetterman will replace GOP Senator Pat Toomey in the upper chamber, which currently has 50 Democrats and 50 Republicans. It was a good day, excuse me, I think for democracy. It was a good day for America. President Biden said at a press conference Wednesday afternoon in the White House. He went on to say, our democracy has been tested in recent years, but with their votes, the American people have spoken and proven once again that democracy is who we are. 3 states will now determine which party controls the Senate. According to CBS News, projections are Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. And as you guys, most of you know, the jury is still out on a few of those elections, particularly in Arizona, which I'll talk about momentarily. In Georgia, Democrat Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker will face each other in a runoff election on December 6th, since neither reached the 50% threshold needed to avoid a head-to-head matchup under state law. Arizona Senate race is leaning towards the Democrats, while Nevada is a toss-up, according to the CBS News estimates. Alaska Senate race is unresolved, but the top 2 candidates are both Republicans, meaning the results won't have any bearing on the balance of power. GOP Senator Ron Johnson is projected to win in Wisconsin, defeating Democrat Mandel Barnes to keep the state Senate seat in the Republican hands. Control of the House is also leaning in Republicans' favor on Wednesday, after votes continue to be counted in dozens of districts across the country. CBS News estimates the GOP will win at least 210 seats. Democrats at least 200, both short of the 218 needed to gain full control. Mr. Particle's crypto fire sale. Yes, stonks too, filled with some bags today. Yes, that is the optimistic way of looking at these big crashes, sales. In all likelihood, that's what they are. But Beto lost again. Stacey Abrams lost again. So I don't know what I make of all this. You know, I think a lot of people were kind of uninspired due to candidates in both parties and a lack of inspiring messaging from both parties. And I think we're going to see a lot of polling data come out in days and weeks to come that a lot of independents didn't feel inspired or galvanized, which led to the results that it did. I just think that in terms of the GOP, I think they ran things way too safe in terms of overall the candidates they ran and their messaging. I think they could have done a much better job there. And Fetterman, he's an easy guy to make fun of, for obvious reasons that we don't have to go over. But at the same time, I could see why he was really likable. He's super imperfect. He's super flawed. And he just gets up there with a hooded sweatshirt and does his thing, as awkward as it can be at times. And I think Dr. Oz probably came across just too slick, perhaps, for some of the voters there in Pennsylvania. And it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. As far as credibility of elections, I do think there are some legitimate questions to be had. I got to watch myself here because can't question anything the establishment does for the most part on this platform without jeopardizing things. But let's just say there are plenty of questions in Maricopa County and parts of Arizona. We'll see how it shakes out, but when you have one job and you can't, you have all these voting machines going sideways and you have the entire year just to plan for that one task. And in a county and in areas that repeatedly have problems every single recent cycle now, I think it's more than reasonable to have questions. And I don't want this conversation to turn to a partisan thing. I just try to give everything a fair hearing. And many times I think the establishment and our media try to stifle and discourage people from having an open mind about things and just making their minds up for themselves and looking into things for themselves. That's all I'm saying. And I remember, I'm no spring chicken, folks, and I remember the year 2000 pretty well. and the contested election that unfolded there between Al Gore and George Bush, which became his first term. And there are a lot of questions and shenanigans going down there in Florida at that time. And it seemed between that and the WEBULL, the voting machines that were going around at that time, it seemed pretty clear to me that there was a lot of election manipulation going on there. And then we even had a lot of investigations, a lot of really good investigations and hearings around these voting machines back then. And what they concluded was that the voting machines were made so they could be tipped and manipulated in terms of anyone with the right passwords could override the results of any election. Now, let me ask you folks, why on earth would you make voting machines where that is a potential feature? I'm just asking. This is a really common sense question. And if people want to call this conspiratorial, that's their prerogative. But why on earth would you build voting machines where that is an option? And then it makes you wonder, who WEBULL was doing business with, the manufacturer of these voting machines back then. And perhaps who was getting extra kickback for buying voting machines with those features, right? So I think a combination of everything went down then. It seemed pretty obvious to me that a lot was going on back in 2000. And back then, just out of default of my perspective on things, I was called, a loony lefty or loony liberal or whatever. Now, if you question the integrity of any elections, the mainstream media, the establishment, everybody brandishes you as an election denier. This is the dehumanizing terminology we are using to automatically label and marginalize anyone who has any questions or suspicions about election integrity in 2022. And I think that's by design. And I think it's conveniently hypocritical. And I'm just as skeptical about elections as I was then and as I am now. But now people have different political labels for me because of that, which is ironic, isn't it? Marco says we should go back to paper ballots. I agree. Let's keep it simple. What's the old saying? Keep it simple, stupid. Kiss? I agree. Let's just keep it to paper ballots. Fill them out. Hand them in. Game over. Once in a while, technology just isn't the answer. And I think with voting, technology just isn't the answer. Except for perhaps blockchain. Blockchain possibly could be a very viable answer for upholding election and voter integrity. And sometimes I think people are very flexible. Certain people, anyway, can be very flexible on their interest in election and vote integrity according to the outcome of that said election. And I think that's very unfortunate. I think that's very unfortunate. But the GOP has been continually ineffective, and they had so many concerns over the last general election, but virtually did nothing between 2020 and now to increase voter security. To me, this should be a bipartisan issue and at the top of the list for everyone, regardless of political persuasion. Crypto Tank Girl says paper ballots then can be kept as evidence for double counts if needed. Good idea. I agree. Zombie Doge Army says, but it's hard to cheat the system with paper ballots. Got to make it easier. You know, it really makes you wonder, right? It really makes you wonder because it's not hard if we all demanded paper ballots. This should have been a foregone common sense conclusion as a country that we have decided on this years ago this should have been decided over 20 years ago. Now, folks, if you look up, of course, do this after I'm done. Your man Real Deal is done streaming. But if you look up WEBULL investigations, that's DIEBOLD on YouTube or Odyssey or whatever, you will see multiple videos of some of the very same politicians right now that are persecuting others for questioning integrity election right now. Some of those very same people were up in arms about election integrity 20 years ago. It's always been a concern for me. It's always been a concern for me. It's just that the establishment has different labels for people like me, according to what's convenient for them at the time. And they'll have different labels for you too. Personally, I'm more of the persuasion that our current two-party system and platforms are rather antiquated. But why? Okay, so right when it became known and confirmed that the WEBULL voting machines way back in the 90s and early 2000s were riddled full of mistakes and what should I say, illogical outcomes that can't be explained. Right then and there, we should have collectively sided countries like, you know what? Let's just scale this back. Let's just do pen and paper, pencil and paper. That way, it leaves nothing. Nothing that could be hacked. But no, that'd be too simple. That'd be too straightforward. Just like our tax code system. They could make it all in one sheet. You know that, right? You know that. You know they could make the process of filing taxes way simpler, way more comprehensive for us. You know that, right? You know most other countries don't have tax code systems and forms that are as complex and confusing as ours. You know that, right? Did they do that on purpose? To screw us. Just as like I think that we have the voting technologies in place for certain people to screw us. I said it. The fact that these are even seen as controversial statements to make in this day and age is astounding to me. But I do think that there is great potential. I need to educate myself on more how securely blockchain could be used when it comes to elections. But I think there's a ton of potential there from the little bit I've looked into it. I mean, most third world countries don't need days and days to count votes like we do in certain particular swing states in this country. What's that about? What's that about? I live in a swing state. I remember they stopped the voting in the middle of the night in 2020, and they didn't restart the voting until the next day. Bizarre. Very strange. Never done before. I'm not asserting that foul play for sure was a skew there, but at the same time, It's eyebrow raising. When something's never been done before, they've never just stopped in the middle of the night and then started again the next day until 2020. And folks, let me just be clear. I'm for election integrity across the board. I really don't think this should be a partisan issue. I was right out there calling election shenanigans when it benefited the Republicans in 2000. And I think there are reasonable questions to be had today. But they call you a denier, election denier. See the tactic? It's very dehumanizing. It's a lot easier to marginalize any questions over our elections if you can just label anyone who is skeptical of them as a crazy person. It's a dehumanizing tactic and not a new one. And not a new one. And you know what's really interesting is I just don't, what's really interesting to me about all of this is the solution is very simple, but it seems our elected leaders either don't have the desire or testicular fortitude to make it happen. You know, these machines, and people are showing up all over Arizona yesterday, and they were being told, oh, at this voting location, 70% of the votes are being tallied correctly, and 30% of them are coming out incorrectly. So what we're going to have to do is you're just going to have to leave your tally here, and then we're going to go over it sometime tomorrow. And then different voting locations are saying, okay, it's working on 75% of the outcomes, and then 25% of the outcomes, people are saying that their votes aren't turning in the way they want them to. And keep in mind, these are counties that had a lot of problems in the last election and that drew so much ire. So if you had over 2 years to iron this out and work this out, and they're still coming up the same, they're still counting the votes over there. They're still counting the votes over there. Third world countries don't even need this much time. This isn't normal. They want you to think all this stuff is normal. They're trying to condition you guys to think all this is normal. It's not normal, folks. Don't be sedated by this stuff. It's not normal. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to be skeptical of your government. It's okay to be skeptical. And this isn't a partisan thing, guys. I want to make that very clear. My political opinions are very nuanced, as you guys know, but I gotta call a spade a spade. And I gotta use my free speech in the capacity that I have it. Speaking of free speech, Twitter is making some headway under Elon Musk's acquisition. However, nothing has changed yet in terms of shadow banning, engagement throttling, follower count throttling, and censorship. Pretty much all the same rules and coding is still in place. So I just want to keep that in mind, because I listened to a Twitter space today in which Elon Musk was present. I don't know how many of you heard it. And there were a couple members of his council, Twitter council, co-hosting that event / space. And you could even hear the tension between the woman who worked for Twitter still, who hosted the space, and Elon. You could hear that push and pull. And you could hear that she was a bit anxious and a bit frustrated, should we say. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. I'm getting a little anxious because I think I'm black-pilled to a certain degree. And I think it's healthy for us to keep reminding Elon, hey, listen, are you still going to address these matters? We don't just want to assume it's only going to be taken care of. We got to speak up for ourselves, even though we love Elon. We got to speak up for ourselves. Emperor Doge says the founding fathers wanted the public to question their government. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter if your group is in power. Always question and hold them accountable. 100%. 100%. Tim H says there's no room for logic in politics, silly. Space Frog says this was a problem in 2020. How do you not fix this in 2 years? Yeah. Xavier says, oh, sorry, sweetheart. I didn't mean to cheat you. It was only 30%. Sorry. Guys, you've been listening to the man, Real Deal, Steele. Coming in late. Approaching that midnight hour in my neck of the woods. It's early on. Going on 10 p.m. if you're out the East or West Coast. You're a night owl officially if you're on the East Coast or in Florida. Kathy was suspended for impersonating a comedian. That was hilarious. Who said that? Yeah, I'm sure most of you guys caught that. Kathy Griffith got her Twitter account suspended for impersonating Elon. And a few others did as well. H3 Podcast did as well. Ethan Klein, who has just become evolved into a pretty annoying guy, honestly. I used to find him a lot more funny. Now he's just like hostile. He's really become a real hostile guy. Yeah, I hear you, Crypto Tank Girl. Not everyone can afford that $8. I understand. Maybe something can be worked out in the future where you can get free, you get complimentary Twitter Blue in exchange for, I don't know, doing something, doing a little bit of side work or something for Twitter, right? I feel like something can be worked out there. I feel like there's room for something to be worked out there. Florida politics reporting. Donald Trump takes another shot at Ron DeSantis, says he's received more votes in Florida than the governor. Ron DeSantis may believe Tuesday night's re-election was a win for the ages, but former president isn't sold. Trump took to Truth Social to diminish DeSantis' accomplishment Wednesday. Now that the election in Florida is over and everything went quite well, shouldn't it be that in 2020 I got 1.1 million more votes in Florida than Ron D got 5.7 million to 4.6 million? Just asking. Yeah, I suppose it's a little petty, but unsurprising. But to be fair, there's always usually more of a turnout in not only in a general election, but anytime Trump is on the ballot, he just galvanizes a lot of voters to the polls. Well, some people are salty about this. I don't know. It's like the way I see it. The more I looked into this, I mean, there is evidence to suggest that Ron DeSantis has been meeting with guys like Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney's election team and guys like this. So, Ron DeSantis is clearly making a pivot for 2020, 2024. Trump sees that. He knows that. And, and arguably Trump put him on the map to begin with in terms of notoriety. Not to take away from how he's governed, whatever you think about him. But so given that is the scenario, should we really be outraged and surprised that Donald Trump's going to take a few swipes at him at this point? I don't. I'm surprised people are surprised. You know what I mean? I'm surprised people are surprised. So guys, going forward, let's get back to crypto here. Solana, now less than 4 hours away from this massive unstaking. So just to be clear, $800 million of Solana tokens are set to be unstaked in less than 4 hours. You might want to set your alarm to wake yourself up and to watch these charts, because there could be a real opportunity here. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the Solana charts, and I very well may buy the bottom, but you got to make sure you're buying that bottom when Solana really starts to tank. But I will state again, this is high risk, high reward stuff here. Buying Bitcoin, buying Dogecoin right now, buying Ethereum. What do I think about that? Not a bad idea overall. At the same time, just know that it's probably going to go everything's probably going to go lower. I don't think this is quite the bottom. And also, it might take a little while before things come up again. Longer than what you'd like it to. Tim coming through with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, man. Missed you around here. Not many places. Really just hang and chat about crypto, especially in the current market. Hey, appreciate that, Tim. Appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the show. Yeah, I'm trying to stream more frequently again, more regularly again. And frankly, if I just go audio like this, live podcast style, it's easier for me to stream more frequently. Not to say that I won't be going on camera again. I will be going on camera for some of the streams, but not all of them. Hector says, I wish I had more capital. You and me both, my friend. I've just been getting hit with whammy after whammy lately with life. You know how that is. Bills and breakdowns and everything else. Hey, Space Frog coming in big with $10. Make you holler. Appreciate that, man. Space Frog. Love the style of the channel. Keep doing what you're doing. Genuine voice for Dogecoin and crypto. Hey, love it. I love it. Space Frog. Thank you so much for your generous super chat and the encouragement. I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it. Hope you stick around, and I'll keep doing my best over here. You know, in terms of Dogecoin, I'm still incredibly bullish about it for one simple reason, and that is incoming integration of Dogecoin into Twitter. You know, it was breaking news this morning via the New York Times that Twitter has filed for sure paperwork to enter the payments business. This is huge. And this is could be very revolutionary for the payments market. And I have a very strong premonition that Dogecoin will be included in that. I think we will see Dogecoin integrated in ways that benefit content creators like myself. One of the things I really like about what Elon Musk is trying to do right now is bring about ways for content creators to be able to monetize their content on the platform, which currently there's no way to do it on Twitter, which always astounds me that people spend content creators will spend all of their efforts on Twitter and no effort. You know what it is? It's not easy to. It's just not easy to set up a YouTube channel and regularly do stuff and a stream and stuff like that. Whereas almost anyone can just get on Spaces on Twitter and do their thing. But I still think, personally, I love this format a lot more than Twitter. Not that I don't like doing Twitter Spaces. I do like that sometimes, but I love going live on YouTube a lot more. I can interact with you guys. The thing I don't like about Twitter is you guys can't type live. You guys can't converse with me live on Twitter. You can't put messages there, which sucks. I don't like that. Twitter Easy Pay taking on PayPal. Sleepy says Dogecoin is criminally undervalued. Someone needs to go to jail. Well, I think someone is going to jail for participating in the undervaluement of Dogecoin, and that would be Sam Bankman-Fried. I think he's going to be doing hard time, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to need a heck of a lawyer to do zero time. I don't see that. I don't see that happening. I casually mentioned earlier, the only things that are stable and semi-bullish in my whole portfolio are a couple of my SHIT coins, ironically. Which is like, wow. So there you have it, right? The importance of diversification vindicated. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's see what's going on here, folks. Let's see what else is going on here, folks. Do we have any winners in the those Arizona races yet? Let's take a look here. New York Times actually does the best job, in my opinion, for up-to-date election coverage in terms of precision and the latest. So yeah, the latest results from 2 minutes ago, with 70% of votes reporting, as Katie Hobbs ahead by 50.34% with 953,783 votes. Carrie Lake coming in at 49.66% with 940,716. Well, 70% reporting, I still think it's anyone's game. It could go either way. I think this is too close to call. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, gang. Stormer says it seems like Masters will lose and Lake will win. They are slow to count. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, right? Because the same thing happened in a couple other swing states too, where it was kind of split on party vote. For example, in Wisconsin, the incumbent Democrat governor won pretty easily re-election, wherein the incumbent Republican Senator Ron Johnson won over his opponent. And I think that's just a candidate issue to a certain degree, right? But when it comes to Arizona, however, who knows? Who knows what's going on over there? But Blake Masters, that almost sounds like a one of it sounds like a character on American Psycho. I saw Blake Masters' new ivory textured business cards, and immediately a state of cold sweat panic overcame me. I love that movie. I got to rewatch that. Who's seen American Psycho? It's just so well written. It's very dark. but very funny. And pretty deep, actually. Pretty deep. Well, guys, Bitcoin's coming up a little slowly. Right now, what you're looking at is just kind of a generalized Robinhood chart for the day. When we go to the live, it shows Bitcoin coming up about 2% over the last hour. And, of course, we have Bitcoin down a whopping 18% over the last week. And you put it over the last month, we're down about 14.5%. Space Frog says still a lot of votes to count. Guess we'll see in a week. Yeah, it's probably going to take about a week. Zombie Doge Army, why is it taking so long? Text was done on day one. Way more people to count. I mean, you raised a fair point. Why is it that a state like Texas, why is a state like Texas can get all this done in the same evening every time consistently, wherein we have these discrepancies in the same swing states that are a fraction of the size of a state like that? I mean, come on, folks. I'm just asking. I'm not asserting, but I am asking. What's going on in the world? Who are these people? That's my Seinfeld. Who are these people? Deep in the heart of Texas. I still got a few relatives down there. A little outside of the Austin area. Truckin' All Day says, I think Blake Masters was from Sex Lies videotaping. That name, I can't get over that name. Blake Masters. People say Steven Steele sounds like an adult film star, and they're not wrong, but I think Blake Masters might rival that a little bit. Alan, good to see Alan Schneider. There's always a place to question. I agree. Particle says swing states go to the highest bidder. Ooh, now you're getting spicy. My apartment smells wonderful. Do you know why? Because my lady is cooking up some fresh, big pot of French onion soup. One of my favorites. You guys like French onion soup? I love French onion soup. I love all the things that make your breath stink. Mm-hmm. Onions, garlic. Give it to me. Give it to me now. But I am going to keep a close eye on this huge unstaking of Solana. I might go in big, guys. I might go in big and buy that bottom. Those who buy that bottom on Solana could really possibly make some big wins. You got to be real careful, though. That is it's high risk, high reward stuff. Now, a lot of people kept buying what they thought was the bottom on... I'm just having a brain freeze right now. You know, the one. Luna, duh. Luna, but people kept getting wrecked because they kept buying what they thought was the bottom when the bottom wasn't in. So the secret to success on these high-risk, high-reward scenarios is buying the true bottom, usually. Beef stew, someone says. Beef stew, what can you do? Well, I love that. I love stews. I love soups. I could live off of stews and soups. When it comes summer, then give me the gazpacho, baby. I'll take the cold soups. Put me on a liquid diet. I'm okay with it for a while anyway. I just love soup, man. Hearty soup, brothy soup, bring it on me. Xavier says French onion soup. Wow, I didn't even know they had an emoji that looks like French onion soup. Just made some last week. So good and cheesy. Sounds great, Xavier. And you know what, folks? It's not easy being cheesy. It's really not. Folks, you know times are tough in the crypto market when all those McDonald's memes start resurfacing. And all those crypto women start shilling their OnlyFans really hard. I'm seeing it. And I'm going to take a pass. I'm going to take a pass on all that. What is the future of FTX? Remains to be seen, folks. I hope none of you have holdings on FTX right now. I really hope you don't. Al Snyder says, make your own bone broth, Steven. It takes forever, but it's dang worth it. I love bone broth, and it is incredibly healthy for you. But you're right. It's pretty time-consuming comparatively to broth. I love clam chowder particle, but I am lactose intolerant to the nth degree. When I was younger, absolutely. When I developed these allergies, no go. I can still do the Boston one, though. Trucking all day is buying that dip. Buying dips and eating chips. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin kind of coming back. Have we hit the bottom? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We're up about 1.5% over the last hour. I still say we're at high volatility territory. I still don't think we have seen the bottom. Like I've said in the past, just make sure OnlyFans aren't your only plans. Dream Tank says Doge is making a nice green candle. Let's check it out. Let's check it out, folks. Let's check out the Robinhood Doge. So we got a live chart on Dogecoin right now. Dogecoin up 2.5% over the last hour. And this is the green candle our friend is talking about right here. Coming up pretty strong. Where she stops, nobody knows. We'll see. Slide Ned says FTX needs to open. I can't read that. That's funny. I can't read that out loud, my friend. You know that. Not your keys, not your wallet. Xavier says, so true. Yeah, I mean, it's possible we could have seen the bottom at 7 cents for the DOGE. I don't think we're out of it yet, though, folks. I don't think we're out of it. I think we're going to see more back and forth yet. So just be careful out there. Just be careful out there. It is now midnight. Midnight in the Midwest. Technically now November 10th. Time flies when you're having fun with my favorite community of all time. I give each and every one of you the Steele of approval. Crypto Tank Girl says, I'm from Massachusetts. Nothing beats clam chowder from Boston. I bet that's where it's best. You know, they got this weird thing. It's the name of it eludes me right now. Out of Cincinnati, and they take chili. And I played a couple DJ gigs in Cincinnati back in the day. And they take chili. They put a bunch of noodles in the chili. And some other stuff. But it's like a bunch of spaghetti in the chili. You guys know what that's called? It's distinctly a Cincinnati thing. It's not Cincinnati chili. Maybe it's just Maybe it's just Cincinnati chili. Maybe it could just be that. Audi Freak says Chili Mac. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's Chili Mac. But there's a place where everyone goes there. It's kind of like just a straight up diner called like Skyline, I think it's called. Skyline Chili. And I was eating a big bowl of Skyline chili after my DJ gig at like 3 in the morning in a packed house on a weekend full of inebriated people. I'll never forget that. I felt bad because there was like some other huge concert going on the night I was DJing in Cincinnati, and the promoter flew me in. She was so awesome. I got paid well. They put me up in this super nice hotel. And I didn't make them a lot of money. I didn't sell them a lot of tickets. I feel really bad about that, man. Because there was like a huge show. I think like Interpol was playing the same night, and a lot of people that would have showed up my show or at some other event. Space Frog coming in with $5 Make You Holler. Hopefully we'll start to see some upward movement in coming months. I feel like all of the weekends gotta be out by now. I think we're going to see upward movement within coming months. I think that's a safe assumption, Space Frog. And thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. I think we'll see upward movement in coming weeks. I don't think it's going to be a matter of more than 2 months before things get back on a better foot. I'm not saying things are going to be super bullish, but I think we'll start picking up where we left off. You know what was really funny to see is Peter Schiff had a Twitter space today. He had over 3,000 people in it. And he is my favorite crabby anti-crypto voice on Twitter. I actually like Peter a lot. He's just an old school, cutthroat kind of guy. I think he speaks a lot of truth. When it comes to crypto, I think he's off on a few key areas, but I do enjoy how much he ribs on Bitcoin. And he was saying today, he's like, this is it. This is the end of crypto. It's not coming back up. You will never see another all-time high again for Bitcoin or any of them, and get out while you can, and really sounding the alarm. So he really seized on the opportunity of market panic to open a room and draw a lot of attention to himself and his gold company. Yes, indeed. I like Cincinnati, though. I'd like to go back sometime. It's I like my favorite cities in the country are like mid-sized cities. The biggest cities in America are they're like almost too much for me. I get overwhelmed and a little bit claustrophobic feeling. I love city living, but I love mid-sized cities. That's why I love Pittsburgh. I love Cincinnati, etc. You know, they have a quaintness to them. I love San Diego. Yeah, it's kind of how I felt, Alan. He says it's kind of blah after you've ate enough. I mean, I like it's good. Like, I like chili. I'm not a huge pasta fan though, so it's like I don't know. I love chili with lots of onions. I'm lactose intolerant, so I gotta have that dairy-free cheese. But they make some really good quality dairy-free cheeses now that are actually pretty decent. And sour cream in the chili is good, right, guys? Starting to get cold now, so we're starting to think about that winter food, that hearty winter food, right? Sleepy says gold is the next crypto. Hey, maybe Peter's seeing something we're all not. Maybe he'll be vindicated. I doubt it, but I'm always open to it. Here's Dogecoin trading about sideways now for the past hour, but still up. Hey, it's still better than 7 cents, guys. Put it that way. Slide Edge going with a $5 super chat. Appreciate that, Slide Edge. WKRP with Real Deal, Steven Steele. I love it. WKRP in Cincinnati.
and Real Deal, Steven Steele, coming to you live on WKRP in Cincinnati. I'm having a big gallon size portion of Cincinnati chili. 3/4 of it noodles and cheese. Oh yeah. I'm an old dog. I know a WKRP. That's what I love about this audience. We got old school cats in here and young cats. This is a multi-generational show here. I love it. Got like 20, 21-year-olds in here and all the way to Gen X. And beyond, right? And beyond. Let's see what's going on with Elon. I'm checking out his Twitter right now. See if there's any new news there. Some new happenings. So the last thing Elon tweeted was 3 hours ago. And he responded to our man, Goose Wayne, a.k.a. Crypto Batman. Crypto Batman not under the shadow ban, so he's able to get those Elon replies still, unlike me. He said, hey, Elon, can you purge accounts that have been active in the last 15 years? Been a lot of usernames that are going to waste. Elon said, that's coming. That's coming. You know what I really hope is coming is doing away with the shadow bans. We've had enough. Almost all of these features that he has coming in are moot if he doesn't take care of the shadow ban quote unquote features. Come on, Elon. At least make an official statement that all stuff's being handled. It's not right. Ron Perlman. I made a pretty funny movie poster meme involving Ron Perlman and $8. All right, guys, we're going about a solid hour and a half here, etc. And some change. I'm going to wind this one down, but love the audience tonight. Everyone hanging in for the entire show. Appreciate it. We're going to do more of these. I miss just being able to live stream and talk about crypto, but other stuff as well. Just like being able to kind of freestyle and shoot the breeze with you guys, talk about a variety of topics. I think it was cool. I think it was a great episode. Thanks for joining me here tonight, guys. I'm going to get back to doing a few other things and having some late night dinner, etc. I will be back soon enough within the next couple days. But until then, hang in there. We'll see you soon. Until next time, this is your man, Real Deal, Steven Steele. Signing out.
If we operate with extreme urgency, then we have a chance of making life multiplanetary. Still just a chance, not for sure. If we don't act with extreme urgency, that chance is probably zero. And the rate of innovation is not going to be constant. It's either going to increase the rate of innovation, or it's going to slow down. If you look at American access to space with Crew, we were able to go to the moon in '69. Then with the space shuttle, we could only go to low Earth orbit. And the space shuttle retired. And then for almost a decade, there was no America had no access to space for its people. So this is a pretty bad trend. It's trending to zero.
Right.
We need a very strong trend in the other direction in order to have any chance whatsoever of making life multiplanetary.
Yep.
So that's the reason for the extreme sense of urgency.
build the technologies necessary to make life multiplanetary. To answer more seriously, if you consider the nature of importance itself and say, how do you tell that anything is important? Well, the lens of history is a helpful guide here. And the more you zoom out, the more you can distinguish the things that are important over a great span of time, the truly important things, versus the things that may seem important in the moment but are forgotten once that moment has passed.